He is Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together with Jalen Jacoby, what do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen, Kevin Durant is getting very comfy here in the five boroughs. So much so that he went on a very influential radio station here in New York City, Hot 97, the leading hip-hop radio station for decades.
Shout out to old man Ebro.
And here is what he said about the New York Knicks.
I think a lot of fans look at the Knicks as a brand and expect these younger players who, in their lifetime, don't remember the Knicks being good.
Right.
So, like, I didn't grow up with the Knicks. Well, I seen the Knicks in the finals, but kids coming up after me didn't see that. So that whole brand of the Knicks to them is not as cool as, let's say, the Golden State Warriors or even the Lakers or the Nets now. You know what I'm saying? It's like the cool thing right now is not the Knicks.
Jalen, we're OGs now. We're old. We're both north of 40. The Knicks, to me, as someone who's lived in this city for so long, means a lot. Madison Square Garden means a lot. You played in some famous games against the Knicks, and you've played for the Knicks. Do you think it's true that that cachet, that brand, is no longer of value to younger players?
The brand is of value. It just has to be productive out on the floor. The one thing that this generation of player has shown, they get paid more money than any decades of basketball, clearly.
Sure.
But now, all of a sudden, that branding does matter. Marketing, promotion does matter. So if all of the money is equal, players definitely want that. The problem is the team has not been good. And also, you can't necessarily bury the history of the Knicks when you want to up the history of the Nets because they actually just moved to Brooklyn.
They just got there. They got the brand new Barclays. Now, I've been lucky enough to play in MSG. There was no crowd there or anything. But when you played in Madison Square Garden, isn't there something to the building, or is that just something that I've made up because I've lived here so long?
It is not something you made up. Madison Square Garden is a stage. Go across the league and look at players' feeds from the last 10 seasons. You'll see Kobe can't wait to get there and play there and put on the show.
Thank you.
You see LeBron taking pictures of himself at half court. You see Dwayne Wade doing it. You see Dirk doing it. The iconic building and all of the lore still is there. The problem is the team just has not been good. The Nets moved into the proverbial house next door. They put on a better show recently. They got to the playoffs.
And they got two big free agents that we thought might come to the Knicks.
And you know what else? They really don't have high expectations.
No, and that helps. So, Jalen, there's one little aspect of the story I wanted to bring up quickly. After this happened, a lot of Knicks fans came after KD on Twitter, and he kept responding to him and responding to him. And I used to not like this practice, but now I fully support Kevin Durant responding to the trolls. Why not?
Well, he's not playing this year.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? He got time on his hands.
It's something in his head that he probably dedicated to spending his spare time doing. I'm just glad where he's at a point where now he doesn't feel the need to have burner accounts to do it.
Yeah, Jalen, I'm gonna show you something you have never seen before. Ben Simmons, in uniform for the Philadelphia 76ers, doing this. End of the quarter. Pulling up from beyond the line. Look at this. He pulls up from beyond the line. That's not corner three. That's not, I'm open, someone hit me. He stepped into that with the ball in his hands, with the clock ticking down. All of his teammates, especially Joel Embiid, are like, yo, shoot. And the teammates on the bench blew up. The whole thing was so exciting to watch. What did you take away from that one shot?
So this actually took place with another player with the Sixers. His name was Markelle Fultz. The problem was his inability to make shots and be productive as a number one pick ultimately ousted him from uniform. And so Ben Simmons, while being an all-star player, a triple-double threat, I love the way he plays defense. He's a really competitive player that talks about falling back in love with the game. Your life changes in a lot of ways when the media is following you versus the paparazzi. And he had that a little bit. And now I see a player that dedicated himself to getting back in the gym. Because it's one thing to make a three. Remember, he was not attempting shots. People keep saying he wasn't making shots. I keep stressing he didn't have the confidence to even attempt shots outside of the paint.
Look at the numbers that will demonstrate exactly what you're talking about when you talk about Ben Simmons. Like, versus NBA teams, he played 190 games. I mean, look at that. And he had 0 threes. He wasn't even shooting them. And then that one game last night against a team from China, he was 1 for 1.
So, and this is what I also like about sports. Players understand when they have an opportunity to do something special. And in Philadelphia, you have Joel Embiid. He's going to play at an MVP level. You take care of Tobias Harris. He's going to step his game up. He's going to be an all-star this year. But if Ben Simmons can make shots outside of the paint, to go with adding Al Horford up front is going to bring veteran leadership and productivity. Now they become a team that can flat out win the East.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So that's what they were celebrating. It wasn't just, we're going to make a mockery out of our teammate because he made a three.
a little bit.
If he's able to make this three, it's a game changer
for us. A lot for us. And Joel Embiid's like, I can go to work in the post. I can go to work in the post if you can hit these shots. And we didn't just have the debut of Ben Simmons' three-point shot. We had a debut of someone that we've been talking about for a long time. And the national media is just picking up on this story. But Michael Porter Jr., he can make a difference. And listen, he played well. He didn't score a million points, but look at these shots. Step back to his left from his right hand. That's from distance. That's 17, 18 feet from the basket. And then over here, I like this move in the baseline. Little fadeaway step. These are tough shots that he makes look easy. What can Michael Porter Jr. do for this team if he can contribute like this?
So anybody that follows our show knows that before the start of last year, we were so very high on the Nuggets to the point I just reminded myself Stephen A. Smith owes me designer shoes.
Okay, you won't be getting those.
I bet him
You won't be getting
that
those.
the Nuggets would have a better record than the Lakers. The Nuggets were second seed in
Won't be
the
getting
West,
those.
and the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs. Jokic became an MVP candidate. Jamal Murray, they take care of him in they take care of his contract. He's a really nice point guard. If Gary Harris can stay healthy, and if Michael Porter Jr. can show lottery-level promise and be healthy, they're deep. Beasley, Craig, Monte Morris. Like, they're as deep as any team in the league.
They're in the conversation. They're in the conversation. A lot of people got their eye on Utah. I got my eye on Denver as well.
Both of those teams, but also I think the key is being able to sustain an injury. And that's why I bring up the depth.
Next, we have the debut of CP3 in the Thunder uniform. He had 6 points in 17 minutes, 4 assists. Now, my question about him is this: it's when we first got there, we were like, oh, he's traded. They're just going to trade him for some picks or something. They're rebuilding. They're tearing it down. But now the narrative has changed a little bit. Do you think there's a chance that CP3 stays on the Thunder?
Let me go GM Jalen for you in just a minute, right now. Here's what you're doing if you're the Thunder. You bring CP3 into camp and allow him to start the season so that he can mentor Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who he just played with. He can also make Danilo Gallinari feel comfortable, who he just played with. You help him bring his value back up to a guy that was so very productive 2 years ago, but not last year, and see now if you could trade he and/or Steven Adams and get maximum value as teams start to jockey for position, as injuries start to happen, teams start to understand their strengths and weaknesses. That's the play.
And finally, we have the debut in Miami of Jimmy Butler. Now, this is, his third team in a short amount of time. So he took the floor with the Heat. He had 10 points. He played pretty well. There was also just a nice look of him in the uniform. It seemed like it would work.
I appreciate that he chose his own path. Wanted to go to Miami to be the leader, to be the best player, and to help build a culture. Justice Winslow came into his own last year as a primary ball handler and a distributor, as you see him throw the lob to Jimmy Butler. But another young guy, and we're going to talk a lot about rookies, and rightfully so. Zion, RJ Barrett, John Morant.
Of course.
Don't sleep on Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero can shoot.
He got all of the skills offensively. You see the jab step, the crossover, step back. Okay, he could come off screens. You saw him shoot with range. He's competitive defensively. You see this block shot. So in that culture, Eric Spoelstra is renowned for developing young players. Look for him to be a guy that people start talking about this season really early.
We will be joined by a future NFL superstar right here in the studio. Find out who that is right after this.
Got to give the people